This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Rome Resources has provided an update on its drilling operations at two of its exploration sites, the Kalayi and the Mont Agoma prospects, part of the Bisie North Project in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Joining us today to talk about this a bit more is CEO Paul Barrett. Hello, Paul. How are you today?
Hi, Mark. Very well, thanks.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you were indeed on site not so long ago, and we did try to do an interview, but there's certain connections. Couldn't make it work this time, but there's always next time. Perhaps if you could, in your own words, just paint the picture of what you saw on site, what it was like, try and describe the scene for everyone, and really, what you achieved by going out there as well.
Yeah, so one of the main reasons for going out, so as Mark Gasson, myself, and Jamie Anderson went to the site, is to really make sure that everything is moving along as efficiently as possible, which includes not only the drilling, but then sampling the core, getting it dispatched out to the lab, etc. Those are all critical elements to the process, and certainly in terms of the news flow, we want to maximize the efficiency of the operation in that respect, and it was very good. I mean, there's a very professional crew of geologists, and Mark and Jamie have really got a good operation going there. So I was pleasantly surprised. Yes.
You're pleasantly surprised. Good. So it's good, prudent management a CEO should be doing, going out on site, not getting too stuck in the nitty-gritty, but making sure that things are going on as they should, being efficient and effective. So, you're pretty pleased. I mean, what's it like on site if we were to try and, I know some video probably coming out from your socials at some point, but what is it like? Could you sort of describe the scene? Is it jungle? Is it open? Where are the drills? This kind of thing?
It's remote, so it's remote jungle. I mean, as we've previously said, it's only 8 kilometers from the Alphamin operation and their airstrip, but there are no roads in between. So it's all helicopter country. It's quite hilly. So the terrain is, there's a lot of steep walking to be done. But the camp is set up between the two, Kalayi and Mont Agoma. So it's very efficient in terms of moving fuel and repositioning the rigs for the helicopter that flights. So, I mean, the camp is absolutely fit for purpose, and we have I would say there's about between 40 and 50 people on the site, of which half are technical and half are support.
Right. Okay. That's good. Sounds like certainly a very good operation. So where are you at with all the drilling that's going on? So I think you've drilled sort of circa 1,300 meters in total, 1,000 at Kalayi and 335 at Agoma. I think so. 7 holes completed at Kalayi there and 1 at Agoma. 3 drill rigs running, but a plan to get the 4th one going. So where are you at the moment with the drilling to come?
Well, the 4th rig has just, the helicopter's been working getting that on position from Osakara over the last couple of days. So we should be drilling now. And then that's in Mont Agoma. So we then have 2 rigs on each, and they'll be going pretty strong. So I think really we just plug away and do more. We're stepping out. The drill pads are being prepared and keeping ahead of that. So we're just pushing ahead with the drilling, a third of the way through. So it's still quite a ways to go.
You're about a third of the way through. Okay, yeah, okay. So, there's 2/3 left to go. So you'll effectively have 2 rigs running on both Kalayi and Mont Agoma then?
Yes, that's right.
You're looking to do, what sort of meterage are you looking to do? Equal amount on both?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's very similar. The holes are only 150, maybe 200 meters deep. Depends on what we find and how far we're stepping out. So both of them are very similar. They've both got a tropical weathering profile, which kind of slows you down in the top hole section. But once you're into the hard rock, they're very similar. So it's pretty much split between the two. What we're planning.
Okay, and you're being quite sort of flexible with the drills as well, depending on how the drill goes and what the core's looking like. Are you then sort of being flexible where you go next?
That's right. So, for example, on Mont Agoma, we haven't said anything about hole 16A yet, but that's we will make an announcement on that probably next week once we get the results of the next couple of holes. But that, the results from that color or influences as to where we go with the next series of holes. But all in all, it's going to be roughly a 50-meter spacing between holes along, because it's a linear feature. It's quite easy to predict in that respect.
Okay. And of course, the overall objective is to basically define a resource, isn't it?
Well, that's right, and I think we are on track to do that. And then, there's a debate starting as to whether we try and drill more while we're there. Obviously, with the helicopter operations and all the camp and et cetera, all the logistics in place, it would make sense to try and drill more. So we're putting that in the background at the moment as potentially adding to the program if we can.
Right, okay. And so the first samples have been sent to ALS Laboratories in Johannesburg there, so that is the diamond core samples. And you're expecting results fairly quick, later on in the month, so a fairly quick turnaround there.
Relatively quickly. I mean, ALS are usually pretty good. I've used them in the past, and it's really only a couple of weeks to do full element assays. So that should be the case. And then by the time, we will still have material going there all the time. So it'll be a conveyor belt of material.
Yeah, okay. And a conveyor belt of news of those assay results. And of course, maybe increasing the drilling program, as you said there. So, I mean, maybe I'm too early here, but what stage you'd be looking at perhaps getting a resource statement out there?
Well, it depends on how the rest of the drilling goes. I mean, we can't predict 100% in terms of timing, but I'm looking at January, really, to be realistic. We'd said end of the year or early next year, but I think January is a pretty good target. Yeah. And if we drill more, of course, then it may slip a little bit, but it'll slip a little bit for a good reason.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good to have that timeline sort of loosely in the mind still. I think, as I've often talking before, another one of the objectives would be to really, I think it was it to sort of prove or demonstrate that the geology is very similar and the deposit is very similar to what is there at Alphamin as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
I mean, what we're seeing is just showing that all the time. I mean, there's no surprises in terms of what we're seeing. We're pleasantly surprised by what the holes are producing. So,
okay. Well, that is indeed, that's the next question is, are you seeing, because I think in the RNS you were quoted saying, let me just get your quote up. I know you were talking quite fondly about the what you'd seen coming up from the holes there, but I think your quote was, each drill hole so far showing promise on both the tin front and notably in Mont Agoma on the copper front as well. So you're seeing this visually in the core. I mean, you must be fairly confident to sort of put that statement in an RNS.
Well, we will when we get some numbers and we get some more material to talk about. But of course, the copper sulfide deposits are quite visible. I mean, they're quite striking and quite visible. Whereas cassiterite is a dull brown, and it's not, especially if it's disseminated, it's not particularly obvious, which is why we use the niton. But the copper, there's a decent intercept on the copper in the previous couple of holes that we've drilled. So, copper is definitely important, almost as important as the tin, I would suspect, in Mont Agoma by the time we finished.
Okay. So, as far as things are going so far, the team and yourself and management are fairly happy. The drilling's progressing well. You're on track for a resource perhaps early in the new year, and indeed it's showing what you expected and really what is sort of ought to be found compared to the neighbouring deposit.
Yes, that's right. It's absolutely on track in terms of the drilling and in terms of the, shall we say, the qualitative results so far. Obviously, we haven't got the quantitative results, but from what we're seeing visibly and what we're seeing with the XRF, it's we're happy with it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time on that little update today, Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.